Have in studio Akbar Yussif Khomeni. He is a Deputy Communications Director for the Bawumia 2024 campaign. Akbar, welcome to the studios.
Thank you. It's
I hope
good
you're
to
doing
see
well.
you.
Good to see
You're
you
looking
too.
Smart.
Thank you. Thank you.
The economy is doing well for you.
I'm sure a lot of people will have a lot of things to say about this. But talk to me about Dr. Bawumia's pledge to create 4 million jobs. Now, the contention is that even the 2.6 million jobs that he says that this administration has created over the last 8 years is questionable.
I mean, you must provide a basis for questioning it, because we have supplied the data, and we have listed the ministries and agencies. We have sourced state institutions like SNIT, all right, and we have mentioned every single agency of state and the number of jobs that they have created. And so we have discharged our part of the burden. For those who say that it is not true, they should be able to tell us, under these ministry and agencies that you said you have created these number of jobs, we have a contrary data, all right? You have said that you recruited almost 40,000 security services and all the services put together. It is for them to show to us that it is not accurate. We've said that according to SNIT, the private formal sector of our economy has delivered this number of jobs because they are statutorily required to, for example, register with SNIT and pay SNIT contributions of their workers. I was just telling your colleague that if you take your media house, it's private, but it's formal. And every employee here would have his or her contributions being made to SNIT, so your data is available. And so it is for those people who are questioning that to say that, well, these numbers that you are citing SNIT, you know, attributing to SNIT, it's not accurate.
Because some sites, the Controller and Accountant General, they're talking about the fact that Dr. Bawumia says 1.2 million has been created in the public sector. But SNIT, Controller and Accountant General is paying about what? A little over 700,000?
So, but that is a misunderstanding.
Right.
Okay, of the whole argument.
What's misunderstanding about that?
The point is that there are over hundreds, several of them, authorities that do not pay their workers through Controller. And so if you're looking for their data from Controller, you would never find them. And I'll give you just 3 examples.
Okay.
Now, when we came into office, the National Petroleum Authority, NPA, if I recall correctly, the data is over there, had a little above 200 employees. Today, they are over 500. All the over 300 people that we have recruited in the last 8 years, you will not find their data with Controller because workers at NPA are not being paid through Controller.
Okay.
It is the authority that pays them.
Even though it's in the public sector?
Even though it is in the public sector. You take an authority like Ghana Maritime, and they're closer to you. When we came, their total staff strength was a little above 100. Today, they are over 500. So we have actually done 4-fold. And the little above 100 was from the time that it was created under President Kufuor all the way till we came.
Okay.
In 8 years, we have increased the staff strength to a little above 500, more than 4-fold. All these people that we have recruited, you will not find their data from Controller because they are not being paid by Controller.
Granted.
You take another authority like Gapoha. When we came, they were a little above 2,000. Today, they are over 5,000. But all these 3,000 plus that we have recruited are not being paid from Controller.
Okay.
And so you will not find their data from Controller. So that's why I said that that rebuttal is a complete misunderstanding of our argument.
Okay.
And we have provided the data, comprehensive data. So if you take, for example, 1D1F, what the Vice President cited, we have, I think, about over 160 of those, you know, factories in operation. That alone has delivered over 200,000 jobs. But these are private sector jobs.
Right.
So you're not going to find their data from Controller. And that's why we say that their argument is flawed on many angles.
Okay.
And so we have shown that our data is accurate, and we have provided the source of our data. we have listed the agencies and ministries, and it is for them to come and say that. So, for example, if you take immigration, when we came into office, they were a little above 4,000. Today, they are 11,000 plus.
Okay. So the data is there to show.
If you are disputing that, you have to show that, well, your figure 11,000 for immigration is not accurate.
Okay.
That's how to argue.
Now, let me talk about the 4 million jobs that Dr. Bawumia is promising if the people of Ghana decide to give him the nod this year. He says in the next 8 years, we can produce about 4 million jobs. Isn't that overly ambitious?
It is not.
Part of the vice president.
It is not overly ambitious. And I say so because he has clearly identified 3 areas, several sectors put together into 3 broad areas that we believe would support the vision to deliver 4 million jobs. And I'll give you an example that you know that it is not overly ambitious.
Okay.
Now, one of those broad areas is the digital economy, what we like to call the 4th Industrial Revolution jobs. Now, the World Bank is estimating, that between now and 2030, Africa alone would be in need of digital skills numbering 230 million. And that Ghana alone would have the opportunity to benefit 9 million of such jobs.
Okay.
Now and 2030 is 6 years away. So if a presidential candidate is saying that he would create 4 million jobs in 8 years, and the World Bank is saying that with digital jobs alone, Ghana would have the opportunity to benefit up to 9 million jobs. How can anybody say that?
So is that where Dr. Bawumia is drawing the inspiration?
All right. Okay, so, and he's saying that for that alone, digital sector jobs, he will do 1 million.
Okay.
But don't forget that he's also said that he would elevate public-private sector partnership into an important funding model for the delivery of public sector infrastructure. And in his estimation, that will be about 3% of GDP, the equivalent of 30 billion Ghana cedis to the private sector. It is estimated that that intervention alone in the private sector would deliver about 400,000 jobs. And this is a conservative estimate, because if you are given about 30 billion of your GDP to private sector to deliver public infrastructure, you can imagine the number of people private sector players are going to be required to hire to be able to deliver that private and public sector infrastructure.
Okay.
And so it is estimated that that alone would deliver about 400,000.
Okay.
Now, we have a whole mineral sector development plan, which will deal with gold, lithium, and all the minerals.
And how many jobs will also be sourced from there?
That one is estimated at 600,000. But if you take Galamsey, for example, at least the experts tell us that the number of people within that space is far greater than the number that we are proposing.
Okay.
But Dr. Bawumia is saying that because illegal mining has become a serious menace in our country, we must have a mechanism to regulate it in a manner that it forces the illegal operators into the regulatory ambit. Okay.
So it's a well thought out plan.
So it's a well thought out plan.
Right. But
he's proposing, for example, that, for more than 60 years, we have complained as a country, virtually every regime, about how public infrastructure are treated, poor maintenance culture.
Right.
So Dr. Bawumia is saying that he is going to hire about 150,000 artisans through his ambition to revive and resource public works department. So the whole plan is clearly.
But in all of this, John Mahama says you have NAPCO trainees you have not paid. And so stop making promises. Pay the NAPCO trainees first.
So if you take NAPCO, and I'm aware that, efforts are being made, but NAPCO was designed to last for 3 years. Okay, but it was extended for another year. Now, after that 1 year, there are those who stayed in various agencies. And as we speak, in fact, if you go to GRA, for example, there are about 2,000 to 3,000 of NAPCO personnel still working with GRA. Right. Even though the program ended years ago. Okay, so all these things happen with NAPCO. But the whole idea of NAPCO was not to provide a permanent employment scheme.
So you don't own NAPCO trainers?
Ab initio, it was stated that it was meant to provide employable skills, because what young graduates also face is the issue of you don't have the
So let's give you the skills, you get the experience, and then you get employed.
And a lot of them
Right.
have found their way into public sector.
Okay.
Thousands of them. And
well-
so we have the track record as far as job creation is concerned. And so the promises that we're making for 8 years, 4 million is conservative.
Okay.
But I must add that it is not a dismissal of the concerns that unemployment is still an issue. When we say that we have delivered on record number of jobs, we are quick to acknowledge that it is still an issue. And when you listen to Dr. Bawumia yesterday, he said that when he traveled around the country, and every constituency that he has been, he has held youth engagement. One thing which runs out, among young people is the issue of jobs.
Okay.
And so we recognize that notwithstanding our impressive record, it is still a major issue worrying young people in this country. And it is on the basis of these concerns that Dr. Bawumia has designed these policy proposals that he believes it would deliver a lot of jobs. Now, if you take his tax amnesty program, for example, it is estimated that that would also deliver about 600,000 jobs. Somebody would ask how?
Briefly.
Now, if you...
Because I want us to talk about Dr. Bawumia in the Ashanti region.
Now, if you introduce a tax amnesty program, it allows businesses to reinvest monies that they otherwise would have paid to the state. And that investment would lead to expansion in their businesses. And expansion would mean that you need more hands to be able to keep up with productivity.
Right.
And the tax amnesty program is not only targeted at businesses, it is also targeted at individuals. And the whole idea is that it will increase the disposable income of individuals. If you have money, I'm sure there are a lot of things that you are
Definitely.
But
Akbar, briefly, Dr. Bawumia in the Ashanti region, for some people it's taking him too long. They've been waiting for Dr. Bawumia in the Ashanti region. Why is he spending 15 days there?
Yes, so he does 3 days, 3 constituencies per day. Ashanti has 47 constituencies. If you're going to do 3 days, 3 constituencies per day, it means that he would actually need more than 15 days. So in Ashanti region, we're trying to do 4 constituencies per day so that we'll be able to keep up with the 2 weeks. So it is dictated by the number of constituencies in the region. And of course, we reserved the Ashanti region for the last because, as I said, that is the citadel of NPP politics. And we believe that, the way it started today, Ashanti is very, very receptive of Dr. Bawumia and his message. And I believe that we're going to see record number of people voting for the NPP in Ashanti region, which will propel us to a historic victory on December 7th.
Very well. Akbar, thank you so much. Unfortunately,
grateful.
we do not have much time, but I'm sure we'll bring you back again and have a complete conversation on the Bawumia campaign. But I'm grateful
I'll
for
be
your
happy
time.
to come back.
Fantastic. So that's Akbar. He is the Deputy Director of Communications for the Bawumia 2024 campaign.